Bonjour, y'all. Nola Butterfly here, and we're going to check out New York City today. I apologize, but I didn't get on this right as it was happening, so I missed some very essential radar captures. Let me just say, this is about a time that I miss Weather War 101. I wish there was someone out there to show us the power plants popping off so we could see where some of this unprecedented rain waters came from. But we're going to check out what we can check out. First things first, I think it's interesting. We got a story here that's on October 2nd, 2023. Flooding in New York City subways caused delays and suspended service due to heavy rain and flash flooding. The Metropolitan Transportation Agency announced severe disruptions to the subway system and Metro North commuter rail service. Some subway lines were suspended entirely and many stations were closed. Some bus routes slowed to a crawl, trapped riders for hours. Officials warned some New Yorkers to avoid traveling unless they were fleeing a flooded area. A 127-year-old 20-inch water main under Times Square gave way early Tuesday, flooding Midtown streets and the city's busiest subway station. Okay, early Tuesday. I'm a little confused because it is actually October 1st, and it's Sunday. So I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here, but we can check that out later. Almost a little less interesting than what we're going to see next. So let's just look at a map of New York first of all, because I'm not familiar with the East Coast. I mean, I've been there and I've looked at it, but I needed to refresh my memory. So this is New York City, right? And Long Island and JFK, LaGuardia, Queens, Brooklyn. And we're going to keep on going here. Right, where is our Doppler? Okay, we have KOKX. This is live as of about an hour ago. Okay, and they have the blue out here. Now, I'm going to show you something interesting. I have a freeze frame of the weather outlook here. Okay, hold on.
You can see both sides of it, to be fair, but the thing I want to start off with here is the weather predictions.
Excessive rainfall outlook. This was on Friday. Do you notice this? Look. Severe and less severe and less severe, right? The ring. Notice the ring. Notice the ring. Okay. So, our ring of severity is very close to the Doppler radar. Okay. Now, let me see if I could pull up let me pull up a map. Now, I want to pull up the Doppler radar here. See, KOKX is where we're at. It's not like these radars are right on top of each other. They definitely overlap, but it's at least 100 miles to the next radar, right? So, relatively, this circle is very close to this one, right? You see it? I mean, we have a radar right here. Might be a little bit off. So, what's happening? That they knew that this is the Weather Prediction Center, right? Excessive rainfall outlook. They knew it would be around the radar, more or less, right? This is where they're expecting the excessive rainfall. Now, let's take a look at the archives. You can order better radar, but you would have to, to get the specific radar, you would have to reanimate it, and it's kind of a pain. It's better to capture the radar in real time. But let's look at what we know. We know that when they bloom the blue out, they are creating high pressure areas, and they are making rain resistant area. Now, not like rain can't happen if it pulses it quick enough. depending on what else is going on around it. But they, at that moment, they are pushing out. They are resisting the incoming weather here. They're microwaving the skies. You can tell over here that it's weak. When they bloom these, very little blooming compared to here. So they are allowing whatever they can to come in. Right, so I'm not sure. When we see some stuff like that, we do see a buffer here. It's kind of not on the continent. It's like pushed out there. And I'm not sure, you know, it could be a power plant or 2 or 3 that are releasing plumes of water vapor. That could be feeding into the system. That would make sense. I don't have that evidence, but I have it historically. We know that that happens, and daily we do have infusion of power plants into the hydrological cycle, man-made cycle, right? That is a part of, you know, the hydroelectric companies have been seeding clouds for longer than any other individual player. Officially, not talking about the deep state, for over 50 years, some of them, and this is according to the World Meteorological Organization's paperwork, at least in 2013, they stated that. So if it wasn't effective, why would they be doing it for 50 years? Hydroelectric companies have the most at stake with the rain. I mean, if you think about it, right? Because they depend on it. So really, really strong wall, but a weakening here. So whatever it is can come in. Now, this is Thursday, the 28th of September. And then let's look at Friday. You can see that this water vapor gets released out to sea, but then it kind of does it twirls back around. It twirls back around. And you know, these radars go clockwise, and I believe they could go counterclockwise just as easily, depending on how how it's programmed, really. But you could see this. You could see this water vapor, and then it doubles back. It flips back around this way, going in towards the radar. So this was Friday, right? Into the next day. And check this out. Okay, so that's the end of that system, I guess. Yeah, so they brought it back in. This is what the radar is doing. And now, now you have a strong pulse here. Now you have a stronger pulse here than you had the days of the flooding, right? I mean, this was the day leading up to it. Very weak pulse. And let's check out the day of. Up in here, hardly any. So they did create a little bit of they allowed the first Thursday it was weak up in here to allow this to be an opening, and then now these are pulsing, but this one is weak. It's weak because they wanted to dance over it. Okay, they're letting that rain land over there. That's how they do it. Okay, they have the water vapor, they have the moisture, and they've twirled it back towards it. You can see it. It's like going out, but then it comes back around. How did they know it was going to do that? How did they know? Because the Doppler radar is so good. It's almost predictive, right? Let me look at this. Right? Your ring. Okay, there's no, this is the one we're looking at, KOKX on the island. There's no other one, like, there's not one right here, right there, right... It's at least 100 miles. It would take me a while to drive from this one to that one, right? Even longer to get to this one, or that one. I mean, I don't have a road map, but they're not they're overlapping a little bit on the edges, but they're not right on top of each other. It's the only radar there is, right here. Oh. Right here. Right here. And your rain is centered right here. Okay? It's pretty predictable, guys. It is pretty predictable. Yeah, and then there's an opening. And then they make sure it doesn't get too pulled in, because if there were too many Dopplers that were open, it would disperse, it would spread out. But so they create enough of a wall and let this one open so that the rain can come in and do its due. Get it? Yep. And there you have it. I mean, that's without even having gotten it every day in live time, which I could have gotten better, you know, just like this is live, right? And here there's not going to be any rain at this moment. See, this is like pushing away. Now we can also see storm relative mean velocity mode, just to see. That's the red-green show Leonard Coleman showed yours truly one time, how to figure that out. Figure out the intention. They can point the red towards the storm, means they're bringing it in. They point the green towards it, means they're blocking it. And during a hurricane, they'll have the middle of the red and the green pull at the white that's between the two, pulling up the eye of the storm. But over here, there's the green. Don't know what they're really pulling in at this point. Yeah, I don't know where the energy is or where the current is coming from. I guess I'd have to watch. Let me see if I could figure it out here. Depends what. See. Yeah, they're all pulsing now, right? You see how strong of a signal that is right now? It wasn't the other day, right? It was very weak here, as they're letting it in. So, bring it back here. When that blue is out, they are protecting the area, or microwaving the area. I don't know if protecting is the right word. They are microwaving the area. And not that some rain couldn't fall, but it'll become highly unlikely because a higher pressure, you know, and then when they shrink the blue, it's like that all that energized air just gets released and it rises up and it creates a vacuum, and you'll have wind that comes over the radar from the north, the west, the south, you know, just all together triangulating over the radar. So we've seen triangulation in more ways than one, not just the hurricanes going into the radar and then the other radar and then the other radar. We can see them bounce off of radars in a directional way. But we've triangulated in other ways. The wind waves that happen when they release the blue. So did they do that in Maui? You know, if you guys were in Maui and you have skin in the game, I would order this type of imagery from the Doppler radar, from the NOAA, from you know, from COD or wherever you need to order it from, reanimated to see if they were creating wind waves, because that attack couldn't happen just by coincidence. They weren't going to wait till there was a wind to justify it. They made that wind. They made it all. Okay? It's all bags, tricks in their bag. Alright? In their bag of tricks. So, there you have New York City, y'all. New York City. And the weakening of that area, I don't know where the moisture comes from, which power plants, if it's just from off the water, if they had a system, or if they created that system. We know that they don't leave too much to chance. So, fits right into their, you know, global warming, climate change is going to kill us all narrative. So there you have it. And we shall continue. Can't see much of satellite at night. We shall continue this later on. Yeah, you might want to see these things. Some of them really billow out and provide water vapor that feeds into the clouds. I mean, I've driven through rain that came out of power plants going to Texas, and I've seen them come out of Baton Rouge power plants. We had a friend taking the video of it coming out in the morning, and in the afternoon it would come down as rain in New Orleans. True story, y'all. True story. So, you know, if you want to pick up this work and add to it, by all means, God bless and blessed be.